Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today, I am sharing a story about a young man, a journey of courage, survival, and reclaiming strength. It's a story that explores what it means to stand up for yourself in the face of fear, the kind of predators we encounter in life, and the challenges that can change the way we see ourselves. Let's find the power of standing up together. I'm 20, balancing college classes with a part-time retail job. It's nothing glamorous, but it fits my schedule and pays the bills. My friends tease me for being too cautious, calling me boring, but I don't mind. Playing it safe has worked well, until now. When I started the job, everything seemed normal. My manager, Dan, interviewed me. He's in his late 40s or early 50s, with a polished salt and pepper look, fit build, and calm authority. At first, I thought of him only as my boss. He was professional, no nonsense but fair, and everything at work went smoothly for about a month. Then things started to shift. One evening, Dan asked me to cover a last-minute shift. With the store slow, I ended up unpacking boxes in the back room. Dan joined me, unloading a delivery truck, and we made small talk. He asked about school, weekend plans, and if I was dating anyone. I mentioned a recent breakup. He nodded, adding, "It's worth waiting for the right person." Later that night, I ran into Dan near the restroom. As I was leaving, he stopped me with a smile. "Thanks for helping out tonight. You've been doing a great job." His hand rested on my shoulder, a gesture that lingered just long enough to feel off. I brushed it off, thinking I was overreacting. In the days that followed, Dan's behavior grew more unsettling. He found excuses to interact with me, unnecessary check-ins, overly personal questions, and compliments that felt out of place. Subtle as it was, I couldn't shake the sense of unease. One night after closing, Dan asked to discuss my performance. I assumed it was routine, but the conversation quickly turned personal. "You're a good worker," he said, his tone soft but with an edge that made me uncomfortable. "And you're a good-looking guy. I'm sure you hear that a lot." I laughed nervously. "Thanks, I guess." His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Don't be modest. Confidence is important." I shifted uneasily. "If there's nothing else, I should get going. It's late." He stepped aside reluctantly. "Of course. Thanks again for your hard work." The tension didn't end there. During another shift, he cornered me in the back room under the pretext of helping with inventory. "You seem tense lately," he said, leaning too close. "Is everything okay? You can talk to me about anything." "I'm fine," I replied, keeping my tone polite. "Just busy with school." He nodded, but his gaze lingered. "It's good to have someone who understands. Someone older, who's been through it all. I can be that for you." The chill his words sent through me was unmistakable. "Thanks, but I'm good," I said, steering the conversation back to work. "Should I finish the stock list now?" He didn't move. "Don't be in such a rush. Take a break. You deserve it." My heart raced as he blocked the only exit, his presence oppressive. I stood my ground. "Dan, I appreciate the advice, but I'm here to work. Let's keep it professional." For a moment, he didn't budge, the air charged with tension. Then, with a forced laugh, he stepped back. "Fine, suit yourself." But it didn't stop there. A few days later, he tried a more casual approach while I was on my break in the back room. "Got any fun plans this weekend?" he asked, leaning against the doorframe. "Just catching up on homework," I replied, keeping it brief. "You work too hard," he said. "You need to let loose sometimes. I could show you some great places around town. You know, places not everyone knows about." "Thanks, but I'm not much of a partier," I said, trying to keep my tone light. He laughed softly. "Oh, I'm not talking about partying. I'm talking about more private places. Somewhere we could really talk. His words felt loaded, but I kept my response neutral. I'll think about it. He tilted his head, his eyes narrowing slightly. You're not afraid of me, are you? Of course not, I lied, forcing a laugh. I just like to keep things simple. He smirked. You're too uptight. Life's more fun when you take risks. I ended the conversation as quickly as I could, making an excuse about needing to check on something up front. The encounter left me shaken. The worst incident happened during another closing shift. The store was empty, and most of the team had already left. Dan called me into the office, saying he needed to go over some paperwork. Close the door, he said when I walked in. I hesitated but did as he asked, sitting across from him. He slid a sheet of paper across the desk, something about scheduling, but instead of focusing on the document, his eyes were fixed on me. You've been doing really well here, he said. I see a lot of potential in you. Thanks, I said, keeping my voice steady. He leaned forward, his tone softening. You know, I've been thinking. You deserve more recognition. I could put in a good word for you, maybe even get you promoted. Would you like that? I appreciate that, but I'm fine where I am, I replied carefully. His smile faltered. You don't have to play hard to get, he said, his voice dropping. I'm just trying to help you out. I'm fine, I said firmly, standing up. If that's all, I need to finish up out front. He stood as well, blocking my path to the door. Why are you so defensive? He asked, his tone accusatory. I've been nothing but nice to you. Dan, please move, I said, my voice steady despite the fear creeping in. He stared at me for a long moment, the tension suffocating. Then, with a sigh, he stepped aside. You're making a big mistake, he said coldly. That night, I confided in a close friend, telling them everything. They listened intently, their expression a mix of concern and anger. You need to report this, they said firmly. This guy thinks he can intimidate you, but you have rights. Don't let him get away with this. Taking their advice, I documented every incident in detail, noting dates, times, and exactly what was said or done. The next day, I went to HR. I need to report my manager, I said, my voice trembling slightly. He's been making me really uncomfortable. The HR representative took me seriously, asking for specifics and assuring me that my concerns would be addressed. We have a zero-tolerance policy for this kind of behavior, they said. Within a week, Dan was reassigned to another location, and a new manager took over. I felt an immense sense of relief, but also anger that it had gone so far. Looking back, I am happy that I stood up for myself. I know that there are lots of predators out there for young guys like me. Some of them may become victims, and it may have a big or small impact on their lives. But it is a reminder that courage is a choice, and taking a stand, even when it's hard, can change the course of your story. Standing up for yourself isn't just about survival. It's about reclaiming your power and proving to yourself that you are strong enough to face whatever comes your way. What would you do if you were in a similar situation? Would you find the strength to stand up for yourself, or would you choose another way? Everyone's journey is different, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave your experience or opinion in the comments below. Your story could inspire or help someone else who might be going through a tough time.